Thanksgiving bomb threats targeting half a dozen Democratic lawmakers. The threats all taking place in Connecticut. Thankfully, no one was hurt. And it comes in the same week that members of the incoming Trump administration also facing bomb threats, swatting attacks. The Trump transition team saying it will not be deterred or intimidated by those threats. Let's bring in nationally syndicated political reporter Selena Zito. Thank you, Selena, for joining us on this Thanksgiving weekend, on this Black Friday. We greatly appreciate your time and a holiday weekend. I want to get your thoughts.
Thank you.
This has become more prevalent in recent years, the attacks on people who enter our political system, whether they're politicians or prosecutors and judges. Just your thoughts on the kind of the collaborative effort that potentially could be at stake and behind this, particularly facing these new Trump administration officials that are going to be playing a big role broadly in all sorts of public life.
Right. Obviously, none of this should be tolerated. And we have to wonder where this is coming from, in particular, because you just showed two examples of both Democrats and present Republicans and incoming to the President Trump staff. Is this an outside actor, right? Is this from a different country? Does this have anything to do with ideology at all? Or is this something that is meant to cause disruption and fear? There's this saying that says good men and good women don't run for office because it's a sacrifice. And part of that sacrifice are the threats that people receive. Now, most of the time, those threats, you see them with people volleying things that they say back and forth on Twitter, because people have now open access to people that lead the country, right? They can communicate with them, even if this leader doesn't communicate back. And then that just sort of can balloon out to be other ways to threaten them when they're not getting the attention that they believe they deserve.
Yeah, and some people can feel kind of safe in anonymity when they're attacking, particularly in those social media forums. But former FBI Assistant Director Chris Swecker calls this domestic terrorism. Take a listen.
The existence of a threat or the making of a threat is an act of domestic terrorism. It's designed to intimidate incoming cabinet nominees and political nominees. So, no matter whether it comes to a pro-Palestinian group or a domestic group, this is domestic terrorism at its purest form.
Just a quick answer on this, but this could potentially mean serious charges for the people behind these sort of threats.
Absolutely. And a lot of these people that are threatened have young families. How do you accommodate that sense of fear and uncertainty, instability in your life, right? Just because you have stepped up to serve your country. And he's not wrong. This is domestic terrorism. It is a terrorizing thing to have your home, the place where you call your sanctuary, where you gather with your family, threatened by unknown actors. That is the very definition of terrorism.
Yeah, and I want to get to another quick topic. We're here in New York City. Despite the rain, people came out for the big parade. Also coming out, the pro-Palestinian protesters. Mayor Adams had this to say.
I really want to take the moment to tell those Grinches that believe they're going to disrupt the parade, it's not going to happen. While we acknowledge the city will respect peaceful protests, we're not going to accept any violence or disruption in this parade. So there'll be no tolerance for interfering at all.
Thankfully, the NYPD shut that down very swiftly. Just a quick reaction from you to those protesters.
Yeah, this is a cultural touchstone. They've been doing, since I was a kid, I can remember Betty White was one of the announcers for it shows how old I am, right, for the Thanksgiving Day parade. This is something that people, along with football, gather around their TV sets with their families as they're preparing things. And these kinds of disruptions, while people do believe in free speech and the right to protest, these protesters seem to do a lot of what they're doing out of really wanting attention. And there's this sort of iconic photo yesterday of Ronald McDonald coming up behind him, and you could almost imagine President Trump in the window, McDonald's sending him out there.
Yeah, I will take a Betty White reference any day. Selena Zito, thank you so much for your thoughts. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.